Welcome to another episode of the Date Your Wife podcast, and we are here on set with ourselves.
Woo.
We're tired of foursomes. Burned out with the foursome life.
Well, we started this just with you and I, and it wasn't until last year that I was like, hey, we should bring other couples on to make sure we're not crazy.
And it was fun, and it's been fun, and we're going to continue to do it. But the fans have spoken. We need a little GJW and a DKW, just a monogamous relationship, no foursomes.
What are you going to talk about?
Everything. Let's talk first about, let's just start at the top of the list because I've got so many things to talk about.
I think that's important.
Let's talk about the fact that our 3-year-old, whose favorite word was motherfucker, is now flipping everyone off.
She does it in context, though. Like, she'll literally be like, oh, yeah, mom, watch this. And it's so cute because she's trying to figure out which finger is the middle, and sometimes it's the pinky, and then eventually she gets it, and she's so proud of herself. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And you
she
just can't help but laugh. And then you laugh, and then
it encourages the behavior.
The funny thing is you're like, do you know what that means? She goes, the F word.
Oh,
I was like, how do you know? How do you, at least she knows. Like, I mean, I don't know if I should be proud or discipline her or, I don't know. I was kind of having a proud mom moment, if I'm being honest.
Wait, you were having a proud mom moment?
I was like, she knows how to use it properly.
She knows how to use, well, she does perfectly place the language. I mean,
was going to say.
Most adults don't know how to do this.
Well, I was going to say, like, whenever, like, you're speaking on stage, if you're going to say the F word, you're going to say it very intentional.
Yeah. Did you say F word?
Yeah, because I wasn't ready to put it out there yet.
You weren't ready? It wasn't perfectly placed?
It wasn't perfectly placed, or would have just been kind of weird.
Just fuck.
Yeah. That makes a statement.
It's because you have to be a professional to use that word. Most people run around like psychopaths using that word. They don't know how to use it.
You know what? I went through a phase when I was doing my old podcast where because I was very much in like more of my masculine and doing talking business. And I listened to one of my podcasts and I was like, I think every other filler word was fuck. Yeah. And I just felt like it wasn't very feminine. So I kind of had to make like a conscious effort. But I feel like everybody goes through this where like it's like freedom. And then like every other word is like fuck, 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 fuck. And then all of a sudden they're like, maybe I don't need it. Maybe I should use it with a little more tact.
Do you often use the word fuck?
When I'm speaking, if it just comes out, but like there was a period literally like I was like using it as a filler word. And I'm like, that's a lot. There's
a time I know that you use it that's perfectly placed.
Yeah. Well, we all know that's
and
fine.
You like to say it.
Okay. Well, we don't need to
with
go
the word
there.
me.
Okay.
And it's
okay.
I mean, it's appropriate. You guys all know what I'm talking about. You fill in the blanks yourself. You fill in the blanks yours.
Okay, what are we talking about?
Lots of things. We're talking right now. Wait, you act like somehow we're not on topic.
I feel like we should have a topic.
We are on topic. I'm always on topic. I've never not been on topic. Okay, so let's talk about my muscle shirts. I've got a new thing going on now, which is I've recognized that my shoulders have grown. My arms are looking great.
It's just like
looking very full.
Every t-shirt is now like a
if it's not, I can turn it into one. Just cut the sleeves right off.
Like a collared dress shirt. You just
you just go for it. Like, are you impressed by the muscle tees?
I thought it was just a weekend thing, but it's a Monday and you're rolling right back into it. So
I rolled right in.
I wasn't sure that was the new office.
I had options, but they were sitting in the laundry. So
is that the new office look?
No, the team was a little surprised when I walked in, but I also spoke on stage at Andy Elliott's event this last week wearing the muscle shirt. That was the first time. I hadn't done it before. I got a lot of positive feedback from the process of wearing the muscle tee.
That'd be like if I'm like wearing an immense amount of cleavage, like I want the attention,
Yeah, well, it'd be like if I had tubage. Do you know what tubage is?
Tubage?
Yeah. Joe Rogan talks about tubage.
Oh, no.
Have you heard of this? See, Matt's shaking his head. He knows what tubage is. He said, listen, it'd be like a guy. It's like women with cleavage, and they get so upset about it because they're like, oh my God, guys are looking at me at the gym. Yeah, of course, you're basically wearing spandex, completely tight, your ass is popping, your tits are hanging out. You expect people to look at you, right? So he said the equivalent of this for a guy would be tubage. Cleavage is tubage. It would be like having pants that had a clear part. You couldn't see the head. You couldn't see the balls. You could just see the tube.
Ew.
Tubage.
I'd be so offended.
It would be as inappropriate or appropriate as a girl showing cleavage. No, because
the problem is if a girl walks into a gym like that, like the guy's not offended. If a guy walks in with tubage, the girl's like, oh my God, like she's immediately offended.
I don't know if a girl would be offended. I think that women would actually be excited about tubage.
I guess if
you were at the gym,
if he was doing the hip thruster machine, like check out that tubage.
Well, it'd be the same thing. Like you could not look at the tubage anyway. Even if you didn't want to look at the tubage, you'd look.
Just file for some kind of sexual harassment right there and then.
Should guys file for sexual harassment?
No, they like it. That's
damn
the
near
difference.
lingerie that gets worn to the gym these days.
They like it.
There was a couple girls at the gym today. They had the low back thing that barely goes like 2 inches above the ass. Crack, just right above, and it pinches and zooms into the. No, it goes to every gym. It's like an epidemic. It's like COVID all over again, only like tight outfits. And there's the long swooping open back, cleavage for miles. How is a guy not supposed to pay attention to this? You can't not. It's like trying to look. You're like, don't think about a pink elephant. You can't.
But I bet the caliber, you go to like an actual like nice bodybuilding gym, like at the old Equinox in Aventura, we get the same outfits, but different bodies.
Well, we get the bodybuilding bodies.
Yeah, we don't. We get.
They look good. So
we
it's
get
like,
a different body. So it's kind of jarring a little bit.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just think that tubage might have a run at things. I think somebody could pull that off. I don't know if I'm the guy to pull off tubage.
I don't think.
You wanted to say something right there.
No, I just was like looking for a way out of this conversation.
All right. So
it's like being on a bad date and you're like, how do I turn it?
Have you been on a bad date recently?
Yeah.
You did?
I have.
What was his name?
Eduardo.
He
had too much tubage.
I told you the tubage works. You got hooked with the tubage at the Equinox, ended up shopping with him and found out he's your new gay best friend.
Yeah.
Do you think all girls need a gay best friend?
No.
Do you think that gay men actually provide better service at high-end stores for buying things than straight women?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Because I watch the same thing happen. I think that they are way better.
They have a lot more certainty, and they are really good at compliments, and they're not weird about it.
Huh.
They're like, "Oh, this is so cute." Like they're just really good at like recommending and complimenting, and then you just buy. I don't even know what the magic is.
You draw in. Well, I don't know if there's straight guys that work at these stores.
At the high-end ones, think about it when we were in Vegas. I think a guy helped us in every single store.
They did. They were all gay guys.
Yeah. And but the thing is like when you come out, it's like the same response as even a straight guy though. They're genuine, like, wow, that looks really nice on you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, thank you. But it's not like sexual. Yeah. You're just like, oh, so it's not threatening. You're like, oh, thank you.
Got it. Well, it's not threatening to me either. I mean, I used to have a problem with it, like a big problem with it. I was like, what in the fuck, what? And then I couldn't understand. Then the more I was around, I was like, oh yeah, they're actually better at delivering high-level service to women.
Yeah,
which is super ironic. Okay, so we have made the move. We talked about this in our programs recently, which is this entire idea of raising the standard. Mm-hmm. So we brought in Coach Carter to our Savage event, and Coach Carter and I run Warrior Fit. It's our new brand rolling out, and the whole message is get guys fit over 40. It's like, how do we get dudes over 40 who have kind of tapped out on the game with the body? So we did some exposure, which is we required all the men in the program at the event. There's 70 guys. Take your shirts off.
I saw that.
Yeah. So there they are with their shirts off.
I'm not sure I wanted to, but totally.
I did. Based on a lot of the bodies, you probably didn't want to. And that was the point we were getting to, was like exposure for why they let their bodies go. Now, it's one thing to be 26 and get jacked. It's a whole other thing to be 45, 50. You've been married for 20 years. You've done the kids, the stress, the business, etc., and then choose to get fit in that environment.
But why is it that they get a hall pass or they don't care?
Women.
Women?
Well, you got two things. If a woman goes with herself, a guy has permission to, but it kind of goes the other direction too. A guy loses himself, a woman has permission to. That's why to lose it too.
Oh, okay.
So you've kind of got this give and take thing. You don't see too many. Sometimes you don't see too many where you have a super fit woman with a super fat guy, unless there's a sugar baby situation, right? The girl tends to lose it a bit too, because in contrast to her husband, who's carrying a garage over his cock, she looks great. Now put her over at the elevation gym. She find out she's not at Equinox real quick, and maybe she's got some work to do. But guys have a hall pass, it seems, from the beginning of time to just not give a shit.
I think it's because if they're making money, they're just like, their excuse is I don't have time, or maybe they like to sedate with food, or they're working really hard and it's like, okay, I don't care. I'm going out to dinners and all these things, so they don't even see it as like a possibility. Honestly though, like, it's interesting. I feel like it doesn't have to be hard. It's like the story they hold on to, but really, like, you're fit. And I remember having this conversation with you where I was like, hey, I know like you were like the surfer guy. You were like, you never had a bad body, but you weren't as muscular as you are now. And I remember like when I was starting to do competitions and lifting and things like that, I'm like, what if I told you like it would make your life easier? I'm like, literally, like you can order meal prep. Like we have the money to do it. You don't even have to think, because most men, especially producing men, they don't want to think. Right. That's why they wear the same outfits every day. They go in all black because they don't want to think. And so if you could just literally like Monday through Friday, hand them a little Tupperware, you're like, eat this shit. And then you're also, it helps you like I remember you were like training all the time too. And the amount of caffeine you were drinking, I was like, you just need some food. You need to sit down and shove some food in your face. So I remember talking to you and just like literally telling you like, what if you have this story that you can't do it, but what if I just told you it actually made your life easier? And on the flip side, you'll carry yourself different if you look different.
Well, listen, we had 2 contracts that we made Danielle. Well, 3. We got married. That was a contract. Our second contract was our 50 Shades of Grey contract. And I've told this story before, but it's been a few years, so we're going to tell it again.
Oh, God.
So although it may be difficult to believe when you see my wife on the Instagram doing the towel twist with her core all the time and showing her bikini shots everywhere, which I'm proud of her. I have no problem. Some guys have a problem with this. Like, why does your wife put pictures of herself on the internet?
I kind of slowed down because I was like, oh.
Were you getting a lot of DMs?
No, I wasn't.
You for sure were getting
I was
DMs.
not. But I just was like, I don't know if I want that kind of attention right now.
Does that just change then month to month?
Yeah, it depends.
Some months you want the attention.
If you're not paying attention to me, then I have to go to Instagram and do the towel twerk.
Okay, I'm gonna expose you on the show right now. I'm about to expose you. I had some people doing some intel on you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're gonna get to the 50 Shades of Grey contract in a second, but I got some private eyes.
You got some private eyes?
Private eyes.
Perfect.
And one of my guys messaged me and he said, "Hey, dude, have you been working a lot?" I'm like, "Yeah, a lot, dude. Fucking grinding." He's like, I've been noticing some patterns. He's like, I'm not here to point fingers and I'm not judging it in any way. Just living by the code as your guy, as your boy.
Who was this, Keith?
Keith was one of them. Keith was one of them.
Shit.
And he said,
I'm calling Keith.
He said, he's not the only one. There were a couple that came together as a unit.
For sure, Keith.
Well, he was the gang leader. He was the gang leader, and then he had his backup dancers. So we're sitting there, and he says, do you know how I know this? Because I've been watching this pattern for the last 3 or 4 months.
Why is Keith watching me so attentively?
He's looking out for his boy. That's what he's doing. He's looking out. He's making sure Ricardo doesn't show up and that the gay guy doesn't flip sides and all of a sudden become your boyfriend instead of your buyer friend.
I'm really ready for this.
Okay,
Expose me, please.
Just hold with me on it. So I'm like, well, what are you talking about? He's like, Danielle's not getting enough attention right now, is she? And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I just noticed, take it for what it's worth, just noticed that recently there's been a spike in activity on the interwebs. I go, a spike of activity with what? He's like, more bikini shots, more cleavage shots.
I started my fitness page.
What is? I'm just put out there. And he said, and more towel twisty in the mirror, which I like. I think it's all sexy.
I don't ever do that.
You had a rampage with the towel twisty for a couple months. It was great. Everybody knew your core was like the size of my right finger. It was like tiny. You were so tiny.
Hey, you work hard.
But is there any truth to this? You were not feeling seen, and so you posted to feel seen?
So here is what I would tell you. Like,
I'm not trying to put you and throw you on the
I have no problem with this conversation. So when I was like training for my competitions, I was always like showing off my work because I was like, I'm really proud of my work. But it's interesting too, because I'm at a place in my body where I'm not like competition ready, but I feel like I probably like off stage, off season, I feel like I look the best I've looked ever.
Right.
And so for me, I always get women who ask me fitness questions. When I'm not competing, I don't post a lot of fitness. And then every once in a while I'd post and I'm like, God, my like comments and like, so I literally did like one post. I'm like, hey, who wants me to start a fitness page? Chime in below. What do you want to hear? And it got like 200 comments. I usually get like 5. And I was like, you know what? There's a piece of me like I love fitness. And I've always been like, I don't want to like, I'm not training for anything. And I don't know if I want that kind of attention and energy. But I was like, you know what? It is a part of my life and it has helped with my confidence and my certainty. And I was like, I genuinely enjoy it. And I think through fitness and nutrition totally different than you would get advice from your trainer. Yeah. I think a lot of trainers are full of shit. Like, I'm sorry. Like they tell you stuff that they're not even doing themselves. And so it's hard to follow that. So anyways, I started my page with the intention of like, hey, yeah, there's seasons where I have to work really hard and this and that, but like, I'm not going to give you a trainer's perspective. I'm going to give you my perspective. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you like, hey, I just went and like had this huge like brownie on the weekend and binge ate cookies with my kids because it was fun, but also I'm not trying to compete and also don't feel guilty about eating that and then go starve. Anyway, so my intention of starting this was like, I do believe that I have a voice when it comes inside of like maintaining it. 42 years old, almost 42 years old, having 4 kids and carrying myself pretty like
You look hot.
Pretty good year round.
Yeah.
So my intention was like, you know what? I kind of miss sharing that. And yeah, there's a little bit, I'm not going to lie, there's a little bit of attention that comes to it that feels good. And I work my ass off. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to start a fitness page. So that's probably what Keith, not a group of men.
No, it was a group of men.
Thanks, Keith.
It was a group of men and my best friend. It was my boys. They're the backup boys.
Keith.
No, it wasn't just Keith.
But I will say,
you haven't answered the question. Is there periods of time where you don't feel seen because I'm working a lot?
No, and I will say you are working a lot. And I was like, it does feel good. So to your question, yes, you have been working your ass off, but it's different because
But do you post bikini shots and things like this when you're not feeling seen by me?
No.
Don't lie.
No, I don't.
It's not even a bit of truth? Not even a sliver?
No. In a general term,
yes.
I was like,
if you're not feeling seen, you can go to the internet to be seen. I'm going to get to a point with this because...
I totally agree with you. I started my fitness...
So it's yes?
No, let me finish.
Okay.
I started my fitness page because there was a piece of me that was like, you know what? I like this attention, whether it's from men or women. It's mostly women who comment 90%. Men would feel weird commenting, but they'll cheer me on too.
Sure.
And I was like... You know what? I do like the attention, but even like your guys will comment and be like, good job. And they're like rooting for me.
For sure.
And they're almost like proud of me and they're very respectful. You know what I mean?
I get it.
So even that kind of attention feels good. They're like admiring my efforts of like what I've done with my body. And they're like, good job.
Yeah.
So there's a piece of me that's like, I think I need to be okay with receiving attention because I will tell you, I'm actually fairly introverted and I'm that person that I have in the past, I don't receive attention very well. Mm-hmm. And I realize I'm like, you know what? Why do I have a hard time receiving attention? Why do I have such fuck off energy? Which can be good, but also why don't I allow myself to receive? And the other thing I thought is like, if I'm not letting other people if I'm not allowing myself to receive, maybe I'm kind of doing that with you too, in a sense. So I don't know. Yeah, you have been working your ass off and the attention feels good. So the answer is yes.
Well, we got there. That was a very long answer to get to the bottom of this. So good. And here's the thing. It's interesting though. Think about this. For a guy, if he's not showing up in marriage in the way that his wife needs to be seen, and the internet is readily available for her to be seen, here comes the rub that's challenging, which is there's no possible way as your husband that I could give you the kind of attention and adrenaline rush that you could get consistently from the internet.
Well, and that's where I got is I was like, hey,
I'm
not going to go out and find myself a Ricardo, but I'm like, if he's choosing to work, I'm like, why can't I be okay with receiving extra attention?
Does it compete with my attention? But
the funny thing is,
we're
mostly
uncovering something here, and
it's mostly attention from women, but
for sure. But there might be the comments from women, but the men are there.
Yeah, they can look.
Listen, I've come to terms with the fact that there have been many men who have masturbated to your photos.
Well, I don't think
it's a fact.
But...
It's a fact. This shit has happened. I'm not saying it's correct. It's incorrect. It's disgusting. It's not. I'm just saying it's guaranteed it's happened.
That's going to happen on anybody.
Listen,
on the
I posted a full nude photo of myself on the internet after my competition. My son told me my balls were hanging out. And I was like, no, they're not. He zoomed in, sent me a screenshot. He said, yeah, my guys found it that your balls are on the internet, Dad. And I was like, impressive. Impressive.
You left it up, though.
I just left it up there. So I'm not saying there's not some gay men who've jerked off to me too. So maybe they did. Okay. So maybe we're in the same boat on this one. I don't know.
And do you like that attention?
Not at all. I don't like that attention at all. I don't like the ideas of a guy jerking off.
What if it was a girl?
I'm okay.
Girls for sure don't look at that picture and be like,
might. You don't know. We can't prove it. You don't know. It's probably happened. Okay. At least once.
Okay.
Have you ever?
Girls don't. Their brains don't operate that way like men.
Have you ever looked at a photo of me and got turned on like that and been like, I'm taking care of myself?
Okay, there was one time when you did your first competition, and I've never seen you with abs our entire marriage. It's not, again, you weren't fat, but you've never had abs. And I went to go get a drink at the gas station next door, and I came back. You were just living your best life.
I was Calvin Klein model.
Shower. It was the shower. They had this imagine. I told him, I'm like, you got to go do this fitness show. It's like, it's kind of fun. It's like part of the experience of doing your first competition. Then you do a show after. Then you have these like killer photos that you remember forever. So I walk in and I was like, good for him. Like, it was just like you were having such a moment with yourself that I was like, good for him. Like, you did it. Like the rain was coming down and you're in this white shirt.
Oh yeah. They're having me rip it all off.
And I was like, wow.
Were you
wasn't you. I was turned on, but I was almost like happy for you that you were like having this moment for yourself.
Yeah, it was a moment. It was a moment in the shower.
And even the photographer was like, I felt like he was getting slightly bothered. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I was on it. I was having a moment there. Okay, so we've gotten to the bottom of this photo thing, but think about this like in a real way. Like if I'm a guy, I'm working hard. And I'm trying to provide for my family. I'm trying to live my purpose. I'm trying to take care of the kids. I'm trying to take care of the wife. And But look at this. Look at the challenge from a guy perspective. Because there's no photo a guy could post of himself that would get attention the way that a woman can post a photo of herself.
You know what is so funny,
Just like tubage would never be as cool as cleavage.
No, that'd be creepy.
You could do tubage, but it's never going to be cleavage.
But here's the funny thing. Like I follow a lot of influencers. And like even like when girls are like curling their hair and putting on their lipstick.
Everything's sexual.
They're like, and my teams had to point this out one time. They're like, there's guy cute and there's girl cute. If you're kind of like being all sexy, you're trying to get attention from the guys. But if you're just like, hey, this is my new lip gloss, and you're just like putting it on, then you're just kind of more talking to the girls. But there's so many influencers where they like literally they go through phases where they do both. They do some where they're like, hey, I'm doing a tutorial where I do my hair, and I do the same thing. And then they do some where like, hey, I'm in my bra and I'm getting dressed and I'm pretending like I don't want that kind of attention, but yet there they are.
Are those OnlyFans girls?
No, this is like regular influencers. They like come out in their bra and underwear and they're like, hi, and they jump out. And
You've
like,
never
okay.
posted to get guys' attention? Don't lie.
I always post to get guys' attention.
So there goes the defeating purpose of your point, which is like there's not times. It's
no,
always.
Because here's what I'll tell you. Because girls, when they see you being cute, they're like, oh, I want to be sexy and cute. It's more of like a sense of like.
Oh, so it's for the girls. Like, it's not for the guys. Then.
It's for
so
both.
when girls do sexy, it's for girls?
It's for both. Because then I'll follow a lot of influencers. I'm like, oh, she's hot. I want to be hot.
Oh, so it's for the girls and it's for the guys.
It's overall attention.
So all women are bisexual in their desire for attention.
No, because they like the confidence that the girl exudes where she's just like free.
I think girls are way more down being lesbians than guys are being gay.
Of course, it's more acceptable when women are more beautiful. Sorry.
For sure. I mean, gee, we're cutting to so much fucking truth on this show in one session.
It's like,
we're going to blow up the internet.
But it's like if you have a powerful woman and a powerful man, the powerful man's more attractive. But if you like physically, like you're like, oh, she's prettier than he is kind of thing. Like power. Yeah. What's attractive for women and men is like power.
Which is why guys can be fat.
Probably.
Because if you have money and you have power, you can be fat and women are still drawn to you.
And they still are turned on, yeah.
Yeah, because they're turned on by the power, not the penis.
In fact, you talk to a lot of girls who are like maybe they get divorced and they go, I'm not going to say who, but they go run the gamut for a little bit. And then they're like, I just am over the six pack. And I'm like, I know at some point it's not sexy anymore. Well,
because the six pack doesn't have any money and power.
Yeah,
but exactly. What if the six pack has money and power?
Well, that's hard to find. But I'm just saying, usually it's like one or the other. So like the girl might go fuck around for a little bit and have fun. And then she's like, this isn't ultimately what I wanted. But the guy can like be like, this is great. I could do this forever. She's easy.
Yeah. So we've come to a truth that is fact. If you are jacked and you have power and you are married.
You know what? You can't be too jacked. It's almost a turnoff. I'm sorry. If you
can't be too jacked.
I'm sorry.
That's like being too sexy. That's not even possible.
I'm telling you, there's like a few guys, I'm not going to name who, but I'm like, if you're more worried about your abs than like making money, you have a problem.
Well, again, you're assuming that six pack doesn't have also 6 million. 60 million.
But it's still creepy. I'm telling you, if a guy's like really, really into himself, like where he's like, oh my God, I ate a donut and I don't have my 8-pack anymore, it's a turn off.
But what if he doesn't?
And I don't care how much money
What if he
makes.
doesn't say that? He just meal preps and he just walks around looking like a shredded monster.
No, but I'm just saying it does get a little
bit
like.
He has no inadequacy in himself. He's just like fully powerful.
If a guy's constantly worried about having an 8-pack, but if he's not worried about having
an 8-pack, it's just who he is.
An 8-pack.
An 8-pack, he's not even worried about it. It's just who he is. I don't have an 8-pack. I got a 5.2 pack.
Any guy who has an 8-pack is like, he's into his body. He notices if he has an 8-pack. Trust me. He's not like, I just naturally have an 8-pack and I just roll around.
So if I had an 8-pack, you'd be upset with that?
There was a period when we were getting close to your competition where I was just a scotch turned off. Just a scotch. Because then I was talking to my old
because I was posing all day long?
Yes. And I was talking to my trainer about this. I'm like, he comes home and it's not like, how are you? He's like, how do my muscles look? And I'm like, I'm kind of turned off. Like, what do I do? She's like, it'll pass. I was like, and then he'll come home and be like, oh my God, this is like, I have body dysmorphia. Do I have like, you went through a phase and I was like.
I mean, if you were like that all the time, that'd be a problem. So I get it. On the flip side, I think if a woman given a choice to have her husband jacked and juicy versus soft and silly, she's going to go with jacked and juicy.
Of course.
Even you even said, I've been like lean 190 pounds like for like 15 years doing ultra sports, surfing, jiu-jitsu, boxing, CrossFit, ultra marathons, Ironmans. I did that for like 15 years. I didn't give a shit about muscles.
You weren't like shredded though. You weren't like shredded. You were just like smaller.
I only got shredded when I thought we were doing a new photo shoot for your fitness competition.
That was the only time you had abs.
I was terrified.
Then when we actually trained.
And then I found out we weren't doing a nude photo shoot the day of the photo shoot. I literally thought she was doing a full nude photo shoot with me and her together, and I was terrified. I was like,
no, it was like
she's going to be all shredded. I can't build muscle right now. What I can be is just lean. So I got cut down to like 185. I was like just straight.
Yeah, you were lean.
Peeled.
Yeah.
Didn't have a ton of muscle, but one muscle I did have was
you look good in photos. Yeah, you look good in photos.
Okay, so
that's how I win competitions.
Bottom line, one of the points I'm making though with this is that like guys get a hall pass for power.
Okay.
Until that body becomes the obstacle to them feeling powerful.
Right.
So then you have the flip side of this too, which is the attention game. The attention game is interesting because guys can't go get attention the way that women can get attention. So you can go fill up your cup.
Sure, you can go make more money.
But it's different, right? So like you can go get attention with your body just being who you are. Just you're beautiful, you got powerful eyes, you're sexy. You're just not feeling good on a Tuesday afternoon. You should be like, you know what? I'm either digging into the archives or I'm going to do a walk out in the pool and be like, hi guys, this what's up, with like straight cleavage shot down to the thong back. You can do that and get attention from the girls and guys and it fills up your cup, right?
Yes. So what do the guys do?
That's a great question.
They get filled up with their work, their business girlfriend.
So, but then it's a different fill up, right? So there's still not a fill up coming. A guy can't really go to the internet and post and get filled up the way that a woman can get filled up.
So how do you get filled up?
You.
No.
Yeah, so you need to send me more naked shots through the day.
That is not how you get filled up. You get filled up with work and your guys and all sorts of things.
I hope I don't get filled up with my guys.
No. No. meaning like you shut up. You know what I mean.
So listen, you used to be against sending me nudes.
I used to be against it?
Yeah, you wouldn't do it. And now you do it. I think all married women should send sexy shots to their husbands.
I will say doing the competitions, the reason
completely changed you.
Well, I did it just like for me to like growing up, we were raised like super Mormon, like it was like garments when you got married and it's just so like covered up. And for me, I think part of the reason is like I wanted to like feel that sense of freedom.
Yeah.
And then it just became like not a big deal. You know what I mean? It was just like, yeah, this is cute. And to me, it's like kind of like powerful. I'm like, my favorite thing is like how easy men are. And I think I realized that when I started getting more fit, as I was just like, wow, like literally I can just like, it's so easy.
It's an easy button that women don't use. We've talked about this on many shows.
But I also think it's like, it's very powerful. So it's not just like an easy button. It's like
a powerful easy button.
Yeah. It's like you feel like.
It's still easy and it's powerful.
You're like, I literally, like he could be in the middle of a work meeting and I know if I send him this photo, I'm like, haha, gotcha.
Exactly. I send you tubage, not having the same impact. You're like, next.
No.
I mean, even if I sent you a dick pic, it's not the same.
No, please don't.
I've never sent you a dick pic.
I know.
I probably will never. I mean, if you requested one, I'd send it.
No. I mean, I like the shirt off in the mirror kind of towel thing, but girls don't want a dick pic.
This is another thing guys need to know. Gentlemen, you got to get your blow drying skills up. So I'm just putting it out there. One of the most sensual things we did in Greece, my wife's hair was wet. I decided to blow dry her hair with a towel on, and it was very good. I was actually far better at blow drying.
It wasn't that sexy, but I was like, oh, good. I don't have to blow dry my hair.
Oh, now you're saying that. It wasn't that sexy. You got all kinds of hot and bothered with my skills. I was it was my first blow job. I'd never done it before.
I was like concerned. I'm like, how did he know how to do this?
I watched a lot of videos of you doing blow drying. So we're going to come back to the contract.
So what did your guys, you didn't finish the loop. Your guys, you had them all take off their shirts. Did they care? Did any of them care? Were they like, oh, I could do better?
No, they were totally exposed. Totally exposed. And the whole group, even the fit guys were exposed. Everybody's exposed. It was like, okay, we need to level this fucking group up. So we've been like leveling the standards up in Warrior, doing a lot of old school Warrior shit with new school Warrior shit, like blending it together. The guys were comparing it to like 2015-16 Warrior and 2025 Warrior. Yeah. It's like the Old Testament, New Testament coming together. It's like this old school standard with like this new school tech. Just like together. So we're raising the standard. Dudes are getting committed.
When you first started Wake Up Warrior, it was like hardcore, like boot camp style stuff. And I think that really scared off a lot of like older, less fit guys. Cause there was a period where I was like, you got a bunch of like young freaking Navy SEALs out here that like they spent their last 10 grand to be here. We got to tap into something else. Yeah. So it's like a good combination that you're like bringing that like edge back because you got to call out these old guys, not old guys, but you know, these 40, 50-year-olds.
These old guys. And it's a different deal because you got like Andy Elliott, who I'm good friends with, and his crew runs with him. And they're a lot of young dudes in their late 20s, early 30s. But our guys are like over 40, 45.
His guys are all young. When we went to his event, I was like, of course you guys have no excuse. You're all in your 30s.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's a different challenge of like dealing with guys. I mean, you get 50 years old. We have a lot of dudes that are 50, turning 50. We have now it's becoming a higher number of guys with like grandchildren. So like getting that group of guys to see the power is a big deal. And we're watching the impact on them with their wives too and how they see themselves, mostly because of how they see themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Like how I see myself now at, just under 230 versus what I was at 190. I see myself totally different. I experienced myself totally. It was a weird transition though, because I went through a phase of not being able, I didn't even identify with the physical body I had. Now I'm totally in my body and I got it. But it took almost 2 years of being in it to get to a place where I could accept, oh man, I'm a lot bigger. I like the way this looks. This is me, not just this is a muscle suit I put on.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I had a while where it was still 190 in my head.
What's funny when I see like old pictures of you or old pictures of me, I'm like, who's that? And it's funny. You almost have like imposter syndrome in the beginning, like when you transform your body and you like see yourself or like whatever it is. And you're like, oh, like when you go back like 10 years, neither of us had veneers. I had like scary blonde hair. I was like always little, but not like fit, like the clothes that I would wear. I'm like, why am I wearing? Like I was so conservative. Like, I'm like, what am I wearing?
This takes us to our very first contract was marriage. Our second contract, you thought I forgot. Nope, I'm bringing you back to it. So Danielle did a boardwalk photo shoot for me back in 2015.
Was it 2000?
And she had a full coverage panties on.
Yeah, those are hot.
And a warrior t-shirt that she shredded on the sleeves and tied it in a little knot with about an inch of her belly showing. And that was the boardwalk photo shoot.
You know what? I was just more nervous of having somebody take my photos.
Oh, and then she asked if she could put those pictures on the internet.
No, there were some other.
Like, no.
There were some other sexier ones than those that she asked.
But those, you post more sexy stuff on Instagram stories than you did even back then.
That's just in contrast to where I was.
Yeah. So going back, this is the context of where we were. Okay. So we're in a place where Danielle is we're still struggling with sex as a couple at that time. Like still trying to get on the same page. I was
trying to be sexy.
You were, and I appreciated it, and it was wonderful. It was progress. I loved it. I thought it was hot. I thought it was amazing. At that time,
I didn't feel like I didn't find you sexy.
I get it.
If I'm being real.
I get it.
So I was like, well,
what was not sexy about me at that time?
We were barely surviving. We were
not barely surviving in 2015.
We weren't doing like great. We were still in a rental. Like we were still trying to figure it out and build our brands. And I felt like I was like making decent money, and I was like irritated that I was like making decent money.
You were irritated that you were making decent money?
Yeah, I was like, I need him to make like so much more that I don't care about working.
In 2015, hold on, let's go back and run the tape back. In 2015, I think I made $3 million that year.
I don't remember. I think I remember thinking like.
It wasn't the money, because this is how the argument started and this is how the debate began.
No, I was still irritated at like lack of trust because we had lost everything and we were renting a home. And I think there was still this little bit of like trying to regain trust and feel safe, right? Because women want like safety and security like before everything. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I kind of was like, well, we're still renting. It's not like we had the Lambos and the Ferraris or anything like that. So we were out of the hole, but I wouldn't say we were like killing it. You know what I mean?
So how long does it take for a woman, do you think, to recover? Because you think about this, 2008 begins the implosion. 2009, 10, 11 are the dark years. 2012, we start climbing out. By
what I wanted to say is like, there was this piece of me that I was like, okay, like sex wasn't great. And I was like, well, I want to feel sexy about myself, but I didn't find you sexy. So I was like, well, I'm just going to work on myself. So anytime I like get to this place in our relationship where I can't control what you do, then I'm like, okay, well then I got to put it on me. I can't wait for him to show up and be like sweep me off my feet. And like, I don't know what that looks like. So what if I work on just me trying to be more sexy?
Well, listen, at that time, I still thought sex toys were the answer. So, I mean, kudos to me. I mean, I came home with some wild shit.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the answer.
I remember you'd come home and I'm like, I was almost like, oh my God, why does he keep bringing, that looks painful. Stop bringing shit home. Like I was kind of turned off. I was like, that's not what I'm looking for. But I didn't know I
didn't know what I was looking for either.
Yeah,
I had no idea the problem was me. And at the same time, I had no idea the problem was you, because it was both of us were a problem. You were still trying to find yourself and also trying to forgive for 6 years. I mean, 2008 was the fall. 2009 was implosion. 2010 was digging out. 2011 was digging out. 2012 was starting to have some breath. 2013 we started to have more breath. 14, 15
but
we had momentum.
Even in the beginning of our marriage, like sex wasn't great because you were working all the time. And it's like, again, we were married super young. And I was like, I was really attracted to him when I was dating. And now like, why do I have this resentment? Why is there this attraction factor not there? And I realized that in such an early age, but I didn't understand why, because I'm like, I married this man because I wanted him to work and I saw saw that he could be successful. So like I should just expect that he's going to work like this. But at the same time, being married at a young age, I didn't think, well, if I don't see my husband, then I'm not attracted to him physically. I don't want to have sex with him if he's not giving me any deposits. And again, we were married so long ago in such an old frame where it was like, even you abided by those rules, right? So we're dating and we're having fun and we're connecting. And then we literally got married and I was like, we were roommates. And then we did that for like 3-4 years and had a couple babies and then lost everything. Like, no wonder, right? Like we literally had to like start over in a way. And it was interesting too, because like so many times, like I think I wanted to call it quits and we could have called it quits. And, but when we met, we had such good chemistry and we would like talk forever. And I was like, I know it's there. We just fucked it up for 7 years. Well, and dude, now I have 2 kids. And so I always say this, I'm like, you should never stay in a marriage for kids. And I'm like, no, you should always try to work a marriage out if you have kids. That doesn't mean like you stay in a marriage and you stay in this painful space. That just means like, if you're going to stay in that marriage, then fix your marriage because you have kids together, work on it. And so that's kind of where I got to is like, I'm like, well, I got 2 kids now. I don't really know if I like my husband and I really like my kids. So if I'm going to stay in this relationship for my kids, then I want to have a really good relationship with you. And so I had to really look in the mirror and say like, okay, he doesn't want sex. Why? And like noticing the patterns, and we didn't have therapy or any of that, you know? So it was just like, okay, I think I'm not the best, but I have always been the person that's like, kind of is able to flip it on me at some level because I'll be in such a painful place where I'm like, well, what can I do for me? How do I get out of this? And if we still continue to work, then great. But I'm a part of this equation and I refuse to like do nothing.
Think about what would have happened. We got some young guys in our Savage programs and they're 26, 27, built big companies, married, couple kids. Most of our dudes are older. But the interesting part is like, we're able to guide them now to not fuck up all the things that we fucked up. Like I had no guidance. And you understand, like at that time, like what was a guy taught to do? The guy was taught, you get married, you get the girl, then you go to work to provide. And I didn't want to be poor and I refused to be poor. So all I knew was work. I had no entrepreneurial experience. I had no entrepreneurs in my family. I had no one who would ever make money. I had no mentors. I had no coaches. I had no one to guide me. I was like just trying to figure shit out. And here I am the whole time, just really at the bottom of it for me was I wanted you to feel like I was the guy that you had banked on. So I worked. That's what I knew. I was like, okay, I may not be this talented. I may not know what the fuck I'm doing as an entrepreneur, but what I will make up for is working. I will just work. But nobody taught me. I couldn't be honest. I couldn't talk about my feelings. I didn't have anyone to outlet to. There was no code. There was no stack. There was no Warriors Way. There was no brotherhood. There was no dudes to relate to. And in the world of man at that time, it was just you fucking isolated. You put a suit on, you went to fucking office and you sold shit. And that's what we did. So I didn't even know. Like I would come home. I literally lived in a frame of get married and sex just happens.
I remember. It
just happens. Like that's your job. Like
we lived in Vegas and I remember we moved out there so you could start a mortgage company. And I was doing hair at the time and I never was at that time, I was like, when do you get me home? I wouldn't nag you. I'd just be like, hey, it's probably gonna be working. So I'll book me a 7 o'clock hair color or whatever. And I remember I'd get home and it'd be like 10, you'd roll in like 10 o'clock quite frequently. Yeah. And we were young, so we stayed up late. Now we're like in bed by 10. But I remember I'd be like watching my home makeover shows or whatever I was watching. And you literally would come home, eat a whole carton of ice cream. Remember those? Remember that day?
I do.
And then you would look at me and be like, come on, babe, we're going to bed. And I'd be like, I don't even think he sat down. Like, even if you don't want to watch this show, just sit down and pretend like you're interested. Like, and I remember you would just be like, come on, babe, we're going to bed. And that was your tone, like irritated that you worked till 10 and that I should just want to go upstairs and have sex with you. And I was just
that was the game that was taught to us.
I was so uncomfortable.
That was the game we were taught.
I was so uncomfortable that I was just like, I started to build like this, like this, just a resentment for you that I was like, why does he not? But I didn't know. I was young. I was just like, is he serious? And then I'm thinking to myself like, oh, well, I do want him to make a lot of money, so I guess I'll go upstairs.
Once every couple weeks.
Yeah, usually I was like, no. But that was like the...
Dude, our sex life was dog shit.
It was dog shit.
It was horrible. And the thing was, there were so many things I could have done that were not hard to do. I could have gone to lunch with you every day. I could have sent you loving texts. I could have made deposits. I could have taken you on date nights. I could have not forgotten your fucking birthday.
Yeah. That's how bad it was. Like literally I
forgot her birthday in her first year of marriage.
We got married when I was 20. I turned 21. That's like kind of a big deal. I literally I remember waking up that morning I'm like, he's going to say something. You didn't even say happy birthday. I remember you went to work. I remember coming home. It was like 7 or 8. I'm thinking, he's going to redeem himself. He's got dinner plans. And you're like, what's up, babe? I think you like slapped me in the ass. And I was like, oh, it's my birthday. I turned 21 today.
And I remember sitting there just going.
But you were just so unconscious. And so
I was conscious to one
so
thing.
So like 7 years in.
Don't be fucking poor.
7 years in, like you're like telling me like how you want sex. And I'm thinking like you did this yourself.
Well, it's a catch-22, right? Had you been guided to be operating like you operate now, I mean, on number one, we wouldn't have been together. But in the point of that, like, look at from both sides, though. You were not given guidance. I was not given guidance. So here we are without a roadmap, trying to figure out how in the fuck are we supposed to be married. Everyone we knew was in shitty marriages.
Yeah.
Your parents, my parents, all our siblings, everyone, nobody was in happy clappy time. We were in the Mormon basket of false lies and half truths. We didn't even know. So I just thought, go to church and things should work out. That's all I knew, was like, go to church and things should work out. And we went to church and it didn't work out. And so I didn't know what to do. And guys do this, which is, I don't know how to fix this. So I'll just keep doing the thing I know I can control. Which is work. So I'll just work more. Yeah. Like, that's it. Like that was what it is. Work more. So at least if I have money and I've got I remember I got the BMW M3 and then I got the M5.
And the problem is like,
and I bought you a house.
The problem is this.
It was
this goes two ways for women. If they have kids and they have that mom guilt, they'll stay in a marriage for 15, 20 years. And the minute those kids are out of the house, right, sayonara. And they'll take the husband for half his money. The other flip side is the girl will be like, she'll get curious, she'll want the attention, and she'll go cheat. Sure. So it ends in two ways. Like it ends in two ways. And I just think like it's not enough for the guy to just show up and provide anymore. If he wants like a long-term connected relationship, like this just not enough anymore.
And it's not enough for women to lie and hide their feelings and not expect the connection, right? So like part of this, it's like a back and forth game that has to exist in a couple where the guy has to be able to be in his truth.
You want to know why women don't share their truth? You want to know why women don't share their truth? Is if they say, for example, they're at home taking care of the kids, they don't share their truth because they're scared if they share their truth that their husband will just ditch them for a hotter version, younger version of them. So they'll keep their mouth shut to take care of their safety and security. I'm telling you right now, if you ask any woman who's not in the work environment, why she would stay in a shitty relationship where she's not connected is because she values safety and security.
If you knew the power of sex like you do now, how would you have done things different to get my attention when we were first married? Because you didn't know it then. Like imagine you'd been like 15 guys before me. And you had all this sexual experience.
I do remember trying to be kind of flirty with you. I remember you had that office in the front of our Vegas house and you'd be in the middle of a sales call and I'd just like go put my boobs on the thing.
That was great.
And but I think after a while of not trying to be flirty and feeling like I'm being like pushed away, that I kind of just stopped trying.
You got it.
So I don't know. I don't know if there was any other way around it.
Well, now, even if I try to pull a move where I try to hit reverse, you'll just attack and keep chasing me around the room. You'll still come down. If like we get in a fight or something. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Literally like, no. And we'll like wrestle and then we end up having sex and that's good.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like, I didn't know. Like I was just young.
So was I.
And I think too, like, this is why I tell women, I'm like, hey, your man wants to be connected. Like he wants to have this connection from you. You're just going to have to communicate your feelings. If he truthfully like loves you and he's not a dick, he's going to listen to you, but you have to be careful with how like you communicate. Like,
so look at it from this place. If you had been, this is why guys will stay actually in bad relationships is because of sex.
Yeah, because the sex
guys are so connected to the sex card that if he's coming a lot,
that's abusive.
But I'm just saying, like it's a power to manipulate. It's also a power to inspire.
Right.
But you didn't know that power existed.
Right.
You didn't know how to use it. I didn't know how to get it. So I'm just like, okay, I'm going to work.
Right.
And now this is why there's so many relationships now that we deal with in their 40s and 50s where they've been through that initial stage of fuckery for the first 5-6 years, add kids, it gets worse.
Right.
And the guys are trying to figure out how to unwind it. I'm happy to say, though, we have cracked the code.
Wait, what?
We have cracked the code at Warrior.
Okay.
Warrior Fit, Married Game, Warrior's Way, Warrior Wealth. Our entire ecosystem has built a place for guys to rebuild or to create for the first time the seduction principle with their wife. Like, how do you actually put that together? Mm-hmm. Now, I'll tell you what you don't do. Contract number 2.
I can always tell when you're hanging out with Keith a lot because you'll like use some of his mannerisms and say, well, what was it? Oh, well done. Well done.
Well done,
and I'm
Mrs.
like,
White.
Oh, thanks.
It's kind of like put a period on the end of a statement. Yeah. So we, in our attempts to try to create connection, Danielle liked things and I liked sex.
Oh, we're going to talk about that. Oh my God.
And so I went to the store with Danielle and she was still finding her power. She wasn't quite straight thongs all the time like she is now, which are beautiful and amazing. And I love them. And I got her to get some smaller, not full threaded thongs.
Talking about bikinis?
Some bikinis. And she's not wearing these around the kids and she's not wearing them in public, but she was willing to wear them in Mexico.
There you go.
So we go to Mexico and she's reading 50 Shades of Grey. And we're in Mexico. She's got the thong back.
Not reading.
You were. Don't lie. Stop.
I love this story.
Stop putting half truths in. It doesn't change every time. You just hear it different every time.
Okay.
More truth.
So there I am.
So we're sitting there at the beach. I think we hadn't had sex in like 2 days on the beach in Mexico. We'd been in Mexico for 2 days. We hadn't had sex yet. I'm like ready to fucking blow up because here's my wife for the first time wearing these thong back bikinis, and she's laying on her stomach and she's reading her 50 Shades of Grey book, and I'm sitting there and I said, "This is my window. I'm going to create a 50 Shades of Grey contract," because Mr. Grey signs contracts with the girls.
Was this when it happened?
This is when it happened. You're laying there with your your little white ass cheeks because you weren't spray tan at the time with your cool little thong back bikini on, laying right next to me for 2 days. And of course, I haven't had sex yet because I'm still trying to figure this fucking game out. It's like 2015. So I look at you and I say, "Hey, I got an idea. Let's create a 50 Shades of Grey contract." You're like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Okay, so every week you get to send me 2 links to anything you want, I'll buy them. And every week, I get to have sex with you twice. And we could have them more, but 2 times, anytime I want, any way I want." That's the contract. And you're like, "Okay." So we signed a little napkin contract. And she's like, "I will send you 2 links.
This is what we're doing.
And I will have sex with you twice." Now, she's a fucking chick, so she's smarter than me. All I could think about was having sex twice. And then I added the clause that I could have rollover sex, which means if I don't use those 2 this week, they roll over to next week, which means next week I could have 4 instead of 0. If I had 0 this week, I have 4 next week. If I just want to save them all up, I could have 16 times in one day. Not physically possible for me. Maybe for you. You might have a machine gun, banana belt down there. Not me. I got 2, maybe 3 shots in a 24-hour time period, and I'm pretty much done. It restores quickly, but nonetheless. So we do the agreement. The first week of this contract, it's working. She fires me the links. I'm like, "This is easy."
Well, I started
bye.
with like $500. I was like, "Yeah."
It's like easy. Bye. Sex. She resisted her part, of course. She was trying to nag on the contract in the first week. She submits the contract. Great. Week 2 contract. I'm like, we fucking figured it out. We have hacked marriage. Pretty much what I created was marital prostitution. Is what I created. I was like, I buy you shit, then you have sex with me. I was like, would have found it much cheaper in Vegas and much more exciting at that time. But I have my wife. So we do this. At week 3 is when I start to catch on.
It's turning into.
Because the items go from
Chanel.
like $500 to like $1,500 to like $3,500. Next thing you know, I'm paying $7,000. And I started doing money math in my mind. I'm like, bro, that's like $3,000 an orgasm. Like, I'm not a math whiz. I'm a PE teacher who got into business, and at the time that was like 2 minutes. That's about how long it could last because we weren't having sex a lot. So I'm like, and I started calculating per minute. I'm like, that's like $1,000 a minute for sex, dude.
The funny thing is I took those items back and would just collect the cash and put it in my bank account.
No, you didn't. Did you really? Oh,
I was making money.
Oh, you were a prostitute.
God. No problem, because I got a secret account that you don't know about.
You a high-end escort. Look at you. No wonder things were falling apart.
2 minutes of my time, sure.
So finally,
we were in a dark place.
Finally, 3 weeks into the contract, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Because then I felt like she was being forced into sex with me. And it literally did feel like prostitution. I'd rather not have sex than feel like I'm having to buy sex from my wife. So we killed that contract. I'm telling all this because we have tried such outlandish shit over the years to get to the place we are now. But you know
what? The funny thing is even like I would say the last 6 years, sex has been amazing, off the charts. And we still got to the same place in the last couple years where we were like, sex is good, money's here. What are we missing? And it wasn't like we weren't connected all the time, but we realized we're like, connection is really what it's about. That makes sex that much better. Sometimes sex is just sex, but like when you're connected, sex is that much better. And so we realized like, we're like, like this was a piece we had to figure out. And now we're on this new game of like, that we're teaching the guys that is like, I know you think the women just want safety and security. And I know you think if you just got a blowjob every day, you'd be happy. But both of you actually are secretly wanting to co-create and have connection together, truthfully.
I think if a guy got a blowjob every day, he would be open
no,
to co-creating.
because then he would be like some people we know where they're being manipulated by the sex card. And what are they? Are they happy?
Can we test this blowjob every day?
No.
Because we've never done that.
We're not going to test that.
How can you give out an example and not even have tested it? That's
okay, well,
like
why don't we
how
about we test just having sex once a day?
Okay, I'm open.
Okay.
Sign the contract.
You know what? Okay.
Sign the
Sir,
contract.
you want to sign the contract? You want to know some
Look
truth?
at how quickly you put that out there, and now you won't sign the contract.
In the morning.
Woman's contract.
In the morning. Thank
okay.
you.
Every morning sex for 30 days.
In the morning.
Are you down with this? Because we're doing this live on the show, and we're going to turn it.
In the morning. I don't like it at night.
That's fine. Shake. That's a fish handshake. Real shake. Real shake.
You're going to mess. But it's going to be at 5:30 in the morning. 5:30 in the morning.
That's fine. 5:30 in the morning.
You're at the gym at 5.
I will be with you, and my penis will be in you at 5:30 in the morning. 30 days in a row.
You will give up your morning routine?
I will put my penis in you at 5:30 a.m. Okay, so that ends this episode. We've now got a new contract. We've evolved in 2025. We have gone from paying for sex to simply interrupting my workouts. It's all right. Team's going to have to be at the gym at 4 now.
Oh, Jesus.
Here we go. 4 a.m. workouts so that I can be home with my penis in the vagina at 5:30.
I will be shocked if you will give up your gym workout.
I'll be shocked if you fulfill your side of the contract.
Okay.
So everybody's heard this now. This is 30 days in a row. You don't get to think math right now. There's no renegotiation.
5:30 is early.
6 o'clock?
6 is good.
6 a.m.? Mm-hmm. Okay, reshake because we just put an admin. We just added an addendum to the contract.
Because the kids will come in about 6:30, so we got to have a window.
Okay, good. So we got 6 a.m. sex every morning for 30 days. We're going to return a report every week on the show.
Well, if it's at night, then we don't need to wake me up.
No. Nights are extra. If nights happen, those are bonus.
No.
6 a.m.
We just said every day for 30 days.
Okay, all right.
I'm just saying it's not always going to be at night. You're going to have to come in the morning.
So if we have sex at night, but then we skip in the morning, that means you're going to have sex the next night.
It's just once a day, Garrett. Don't overdo this.
No, I know that. But if we have sex on a Tuesday night, and then you don't want to have sex in the morning on a Wednesday morning, then it has to happen somewhere that day.
Yeah.
To maintain the 24-hour time period.
Yeah. It could be in the afternoon also.
So you're committed to sex every day for 30 days.
You will not last. Game on.
Oh my God. I will last.
Let's shake again.
I will last even if we do twice a day.
Game on.
3 times a day.
When we've tried to have kids by like 10 days in, you're like, whew, babe, I just want to go to bed. I'm like, hey,
I'm excited to push through my threshold. I'm excited to test my abilities.
All right.
So we are ending this episode with a commitment, just making sure everybody's clear.
Okay. It's like
everybody's clear. My wife and I will be having sex every day for 30 days. It's important
that people know this.
No, because we want to encourage other couples to do the same, but we cannot lead from what we do not live. So because blowjobs every day are not happening, then what we are having is sex every day. Could be in the morning, could be at night.
If you fall asleep, it's your fault.
That means I'm going to make a run at it before I fall asleep, which means you can't say no.
Well, I can if I don't feel connected.
I have to scroll to Instagram.
No, you can't. I can't be.
And I got to unwind.
I can't. No, I have to unwind.
Then it's an unwind clause and it kills the contract.
I'm sorry. All girls have to have a 30-minute unwind. If you don't know this and you've been married for as long as us, then you suck.
Well, don't worry. I'll be sitting there pounding Celsius by the bed. Girls just
cannot.
Waiting.
I will just give all men a tip. I'm going to
start a clock.
I will give all men a tip. All you hardworking men, here's a tip. When you lay down, it does not mean it's go time. Your wife needs 30 minutes to unpack her brain.
Can she go up there at 7:30 and unwind at 7:30?
No, it's got to be like when you guys both lay down. She doesn't want. She needs 30 minutes.
The time of unwind doesn't start until I lay down.
Yes.
Even if I'm putting the kids to bed, you have an hour to unwind. That's not enough. You have to have 30 more minutes.
If it takes you an hour to put the kids to bed, we're in trouble.
No. If it takes like 30 minutes to put the kids to bed, which is possible, and I'm putting the kids to bed, and you're having unwind time, that doesn't count.
No, it doesn't count. It has to be you sitting next to me.
So your unwind time stops the minute I lay.
Unwind time. With your hand next to me.
You're trying to find a clause in the contract.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, because I have to, like.
You're already trying to get out of the contract.
I'm not trying to be out of the contract. I realize, like, for myself, I have to have time with you to unwind.
Okay.
Like, where it's just like, how's your day? Like, when you come in after, like, putting the kids to bed, and you're like, hey, how was your day? I can tell you're making an effort because you want to get laid. And I'm like, I like that.
Got it. Okay, so we'll do 2 things because you add an addendum. I add an addendum to your addendum. Okay. So the time starts when I'm laying next to you. You can have one hand on your phone, one hand on my crotch.
No, I want you to ask him to care about.
One hand right on my crotch.
You're missing this.
No, you don't rub. You just put it there.
You're missing this.
I need to warm up.
You're missing this.
I need to warm up while you wind down.
Hey, you're missing this.
Hand on the cock, hand on the phone.
What does the girl need?
Time.
She needs to know that you see her.
I'll see your hand all right. I'll see right where it's at.
This isn't going to work out. I'm nullifying the contract. He's being a douchebag. Sorry.
Oh my God, you're canceling the contract?
Yeah, the contract is you have to come in and actually care about your wife for 30 minutes before you ask her to bend over.
So where are my hands during this process?
They're somewhere like not on your, like here's the
on you or myself?
Oh my God.
What if my
sorry,
hands on my
cancel the
crotch?
contract. You're missing the message.
Oh no, you're not canceling the contract.
Okay, then here's the contract.
This is what we go through.
Okay, this is the easy button for women. This is the easy button for women. At night,
yes.
If you come in, actually care. How was your day? How were the kids? Even if you have
that's part of unwind.
Yes, we want.
So you want to talk to me?
No, part of unwinding is connecting with you. Sorry, not on mine. Let's reverse that connection. See, you're such a douchebag. I'm sorry.
I'm not a douche.
I'm trying to give men the easy button.
I'm just saying how complicated it is for a guy.
I am giving you the easy button. The rules are we want to feel like you actually care. I'm out.
You can't leave this. You can't leave this. You can't leave this show. You really walked off the show. Get in here. Get in here.
I'm giving you the easy button.
Okay.
I'm literally giving you the easy button.
Everyone listening to the show,
no woman that is connected to her husband has a problem having sex. If you come in after a long day and you don't appreciate her or see her or just take 5 seconds to be like, you look beautiful. How are the kids?
Okay.
What's going on in your life?
What if I've done that at 6:30?
No, you have to do it right before you go to bed. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. I'm sorry that you're confused.
So we got the addendum on the addendum. We're on the addendum.
If you can't figure this out, it's your fault.
Gentlemen, this is what we face. So I'm just doing it real time for you. I just want you to know
all we're asking for is like, you look pretty. How are the kids? Was Chick-fil-A nice today? You bet your ass it was.
You went to Chick-fil-A?
No, I don't go to Chick-fil-A. I fucking work is what I do. Maybe ask me about my business.
All right. So as we stand here, if this was a real estate contract, this is like dead on arrival. We're trying to put the numbers together, and both parties are deep in negotiation, but we have to come to a conclusion on the show. Otherwise the contract doesn't matter. And we've just told everyone about the contract.
It's got to have a 30-minute window.
Okay.
Not in the morning. Please don't ask me how my night sleep was.
So in the morning, we don't need to warm up because you're ready to go.
Slide in. Literally slide in.
From the backside or from the front? Do I flip you over? It doesn't matter. Can I just slide in?
I want to go back to. I want to go back to sleep. I want to be like a dream sleep, and then be like, "That's nice."
I like it. Okay, okay. So I'm gonna make it happen in the mornings.
Okay.
Because I don't trust all these clauses.
And at nighttime, the only clause is 30 minutes of like you just whatever you like feels natural. You know, how was your day? How's work going?
All right.
How are the kids?
What if you're on your phone?
Yes, that's okay. I still want those questions. Okay. I might have a movie on too.
I know.
Sometimes I like to watch a movie and I'm on my phone
and you're on your phone done blind. And I'm supposed to ask about your day while this is all going on.
And don't touch my boobs while you're doing it.
Okay. Is your top off?
No,
Can your top be off during online
time? Just put your hand on my elbow.
Thigh? Elbow? On your elbow. All right. We have definitely got clear on the contract. We're having sex for 30 days in a row. We're going to figure out if this plan can be pulled off. At this point, the contract is 42 pages long. There are 92 addendums that have been attached to the contract. It was simple. It started out with 4 crayons in the box. And as you just saw it displayed, we now got 164 crayons. And I'm going to have to guess which color to pull out every day. But gentlemen, if there's a guy that can pull it off, it's me. I lead from the front. I lead from what I live. 30 days of sex. Here we come. It's going to be a circus. Tomorrow, we're going to pick the color beige. Next day, it might be violeta. For me, it's simple. Red, green, yellow, blue. Just pick a fucking color and draw me.
Oh, gosh.
Yep. All right. Listen. We do these shows for a lot of reasons. One of the big reasons we do them is therapy for ourselves. That's one. 2 is because we try to create conversations that are engaging, entertaining, and fun for you to have the same conversations with your wife or husband, only different. Just do it. Like these full send conversations Danielle and I have when we're not on the show with you. We talk like this to each other all the time, and it's just direct. The more direct you can be about what you really want, and you can have dialogue. Sometimes it ends in a fight, and with us, it ends in fights sometimes too. But having these conversations is crucial. So thanks for being here for the show this week. The only way that we can get this show out really is by you sharing it. So we have met so many fans of the show, Date Your Wife podcast, all over the country as we've traveled the last couple of months. Like in surprising places, casinos, bars, dance clubs, airports, security, TSA, etc. People just coming up because we love your show. So thank you for your show, etc. So share the show with somebody else you know. Also, we have the new Warrior Book 2.0 that's just been released. Available right now. You can check that out at warriorbook.com. This is the refined curriculum after 13 years of living as a man with leading over 70,000 men on the exact art and science. Part of this is the married game protocol, which is actually teaching guys how to find seduction and the game of conversation with their beautiful wives.
You should read that book.
I have. Oh, you should read that book.
No, you should read that book.
Warrior Book?
No.
I wrote the book.
Not that one.
Married game? Yeah. Just barely got published.
Okay.
But I was part of the curriculum creation in the past 5 years, so you were a test pilot. You were a test project.
Okay.
Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next week on the Date Your Wife podcast.